Hello, welcome back to Killer Score, the podcast that covers cult classic films with killer soundtracks and scores that we believe deserve more love and recognition. I'm your host, Daulton Morrison, and I have a cat on my lap.
Yeah, his name's Bowie.
He demands his attention. I cannot... Oh,
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry, Bowie.
you scared him.
I'm sorry, I had to sneeze.
How selfish of you. It's okay, Bowie. It's okay. She was just sneezing. You don't have to freak out. It's all right. Speaking of freaking out and getting spooked, we are in spooky season. That was totally intentional. We totally did that to segue into that. Bowie.
Smooth transition.
Bowie's a trained actor. I told him to do that just now. And I told him to sit on the floor like a weird little loaf of bread. But, we are in the beginning of spooky season. Richie's taking us off. We are, I'll let him talk.
Let him do the talking.
Those of you who have followed us know that there are numerous movies that I had brought to the table the moment Daulton brought the idea of Killer Score to me.
This is one of our longest waiting ones.
This was one of the longest waiting ones. It's funny, all the spooky season ones are the ones I anticipate to bring to the table. Up there with it was also Near Dark, but today we're taking a bit of a different direction. Contrary to what my Lost Boys shirt will tell you,
we are not covering Lost Boys.
and we're not covering something light or fun like that either.
Yeah, we're not covering Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and we're not covering any Universal Monsters.
We're just wearing Halloween shirts. Give us a break.
We improvise.
Spooky season.
Spooky season.
For every episode of Spooky Season, we will be wearing horror-themed shirts.
Or attempting to.
We will be wearing horror-themed shirts.
I only own like 2.
You guys can work with this.
I'll steal one of yours.
Yeah, that's fair. I have a plethora.
Yeah.
I may have to also. Anyway.
Okay, I have an abundance of horror shirts.
Anyway, instead, this movie is a particularly dark one. One that is less concerned with such pedestrian horrors as monsters and, zombies and all that.
He's screwing with you, by the way. It's actually a light-hearted rom-com about a mailman getting over his traumas and finding love.
Sure, let's go with that.
He's right about 50% of that. Yes. Yes, we are talking about Adrian Lynn's and Bruce Joel Rubin's Jacob's Ladder.
Not to be confused with the incredibly funny biblical story that this is based off of.
Or the gospel song.
Because, to be honest, Jacob's Ladder, the actual Bible story, isn't scary whatsoever. It's actually really funny.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I know.
It's literally about a dude wrestling an angel for a blessing.
You made that joke at the end of the last episode.
And I also made a joke about the gospel song, too.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's pretty fucked up, guys. Fun. May actually put a content warning up for PTSD, for graphic war violence, and some drug-related stuff.
Probably too. You might want to put a light sensitivity warning.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like an epilepsy warning or something.
Yes. For anyone who wants to watch this movie, please note there's flashing lights all over it.
Hey, we're not Disney Pixar. This isn't The Incredibles 2 initial release. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember that.
How are you as big of a company as Disney and you forget to put an epilepsy warning in a movie with a lot of flashing lights?
Literally, when the Hunger Games came out, when it was released, they put in a nausea warning for the shaky cam.
Yeah, but Disney is like, screenslaver.
Wait. Nausea warning for this too, because there's a lot of shaking going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
And not the fun kind of like, whole lot of shaking going on. No.
No moving and shaking.
Why are you Brian Setzer all of a sudden?
He's drinking coffee.
Yeah, that tracks. Anyway, as alluded to, This...
That's on the table.
It's toffee coffee.
Toffee coffee.
Toffee coffee.
Toffee coffee.
Toffee coffee.
Anyway.
Wait,
As
beef bar.
Coffee and toffee coffee.
Yeah.
Jacob's Ladder. This movie was directed by Adrian Lin, most famous possibly for Fatal Attraction, 9.5 Weeks, Flashdance, and regrettably the remake of Lolita.
Oh, the one with
Wait.
Jeremy Irons?
Wait, is that one the better one, honestly?
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't seen either. I don't really
I can't
plan
say
on
I've
seeing
gone
either.
out of my way to see the different versions of Lolita to compare them.
I know
I don't
Stanley
have it-
Kubrick did one, and I know there was one with Jeremy Irons.
I don't
and I heard the
have it-
Jeremy Irons one is... Actually, they're both weird. It's fucking Lolita.
I
That
don't,
mo-
have, I
yeah,
don't
that-
have a T-shirt that's like I've seen each version of Lolita and can consecutively rank them.
There's only two.
That whole story's...
Oh, there's more? Oh, you're right. There are more.
Because there's foreign adaptations of it as well.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
There's two like American ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, he directed the one with Jeremy Irons.
Is that the...
That's the TNT movie, dumbass.
Wasn't that Jeremy Irons?
That was Jeremy
that
Irons.
was.
Yeah. Did you guys know Tom Baker is in that movie?
I did it.
Yeah.
He's like an elvish king.
That movie is...
That checks out. He's really tall.
He's like the only good part of that movie.
That movie is legitimately entertaining if you want a drunk or high movie night.
It's just like season 17 of Doctor Who, where you can be like, he's like the only good part of them outside of City of Death. That's...
I was gonna say, if you want another movie that's a lot of fun if you're drunk or high, go watch Good Burger.
Yeah.
I wish we could cover Con Air on here.
I wish we could cover Good Burger, but I'm pretty sure we've all seen
Guest
it.
episode, maybe?
We need to do a guest episode
On
of
Con Air.
We do.
How do I...
So,
Get demonetized. I want to know.
Tell me how...
So, before we talk about the movie proper, there is somebody I need to bring up. It is the story of a writer with recurring themes that I hope you will notice soon before and after screening. That is Bruce Joel Rubin. He is a storied screenwriter who's done a lot of different genres, most of them horror or science fiction.
Makes sense.
He's probably most famous for Ghost,
Okay.
Deep Impact,
Okay.
Brainstorm, and weirdly enough, Stuart Little 2.
What the fuck?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I know you wrote that for the last one to be the punchline.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you not?
You know, that's fair.
I feel like I feel like I would do the
This just does not want to stay up.
I feel like I would do the thing where I would put it like second to last, so that someone's like, "Wait, go back. What was that last one?"
Yeah.
And then you say, "Oh,
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm."
Fuck you, pop filter. Anyway, so there's
Pop goes the weasel filter.
so
That's terrifying. Would the filter pop out like a jack
oh
in
my
the box?
god.
Oh, why? Why did they design a product like this?
Jacob's Ladder. So this was a veritable passion project for Bruce Joel Rubin, if he ever had one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think a movie like this is a cash project.
Not at all. And
I don't think someone's like, you know what the people are gonna love? A really trippy psychological horror film about the horrors of PTSD.
yeah, and some real vivid hallucinations and shit.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's not the kind of movie that like you're like, hey Ma, I want to take you to the movies. We're gonna go see Jacob's Ladder. I hear it's a religious flick.
See, it's funny you should bring that up because there is what?
Did I accidentally make an accurate joke about something?
What? How about how it's not a cash movie?
Oh no,
No, we're talking about the religious part.
We'll get back to that. Anyway,
Put a pin in that.
put a pin in that because there's a lot to get into. This is absolutely not a cash cow movie. In fact, it was so much not a cash cow movie that the script that Rubin wrote was considered unfilmable for over 15 years. And in fact, made it into an article in both Sight and Sound magazine and American Film, both of whom called it, quote, the best unproduced script in Hollywood.
Oh, jeez.
And Adrian Lyne wasn't even the first person to tackle this movie and try and put it up here.
Huh.
Multiple directors expressed interest in it.
The first being Ron Howard.
Wouldn't that be a funny one?
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
And now the story of a jaded mailman.
Shut up, Daulton. I have a story to tell. Ridley Scott, Sidney Lumet, and Michael Apted of The World Is Not Enough and Gorillas in the Mist fame all wanted to do this movie at some point. And every single time, the studios responded with a resounding no.
Yeah, like, there's certain things I could see why people are like, that's unfilmable. Like I've said, my favorite book of all time. You can write this down for the trivia page on our wiki. I'm waiting on you people. Make the Killer Score wiki. My favorite book of all time. Once again, get your notepads out. You can put this on a trivia part under Daulton Morrison. Make sure to note my beautiful blue eyes when you're, like, writing that article, too. Once again, you need to write this down. Trivia section. My favorite book of all time is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. And part of the reason it's my favorite book of all time is I know it will never be adapted to film because it is impossible to turn into a coherent movie.
Yeah, it's possible to turn into coherency.
I mean, it is coherent once you dive into it, but you literally have to, like... The book's brilliant because you have to become mad like the characters to truly understand the book.
Oh, I remember how crazy you went reading that book.
Yeah, it's a fun experience.
I still remember, I think it was like 1 a.m. one night, you're like mumbling to yourself about the book. I'm like, babe, go the fuck to sleep.
So, and the reason for that is, even due to the seeming simplicity of the premise, this movie has some very deep, cerebral, psycho-supernatural themes going on.
Cool.
Very, esoteric, heady themes.
Yeah.
It is about a Vietnam veteran who comes home to New York, works as a mailman, and suffers either what are the most vivid hallucinations ever, or is being haunted by some of the most wretched, horrifying demons ever.
This is gonna be fun.
What could it be? But yeah, eventually.
Did you just make it worse?
Yeah.
Eventually, Adrian Lyne did pick it up, thanks to working within the same studios as him. But as you could probably imagine, it bombed at the box office.
Yeah.
Budget of $25 million with a box office return of $26 million.
Yeah,
that's one thing over breaking even.
Yeah, but that's still
bad.
That's still
and
bad.
It probably didn't make money because those budgets never take into account like marketing.
Yeah.
And extraneous funds.
Yeah.
The question is, however, how do you market something like this?
That's a good question.
The resounding answer from TriStar apparently was, you don't.
So no wonder it didn't make any money.
Yeah.
And they even said there's no money in this genre of movie.
There are certain things where you just cannot, like, market them properly. Like, there's movies out there with, like, famously bad trailers. I'm struggling to think of some right
Sky
now.
Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
The 2016 Power Rangers movie.
That's another one.
Yeah, didn't it even use Kanye West music for the trailers and stuff, or am I misremembering that?
It used Power.
Of course it did. That movie is a tonal mess, though. Let's be real.
It is, but it's way better than it has business being.
And, like, honestly, the biggest problem of the movie is that it can't decide whether it wants to be camp or not.
Yeah. Like, Elizabeth Maxwell is hamming it up.
Yeah, like...
Not Elizabeth... No, Elizabeth,
Whoever plays Rita, I think.
What the hell is her name? Not Maxwell, it's somebody else.
This one works too.
Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, like... A plot point revolves around an ancient artifact being buried under tie-in product Krispy Kreme. But that is actual thing.
But that is Power Rangers as shit.
No, it is Power Rangers as shit. Like, there's cameos from the original cast. They have a teaser hinting at Tommy Oliver. But, like, at the same time, there's, like, stuff about, like, gay angst and stuff like that, and abusive home relationships,
Sick moms,
juvenile delinquency, and lashing out just to, like, get attention from people. Like, it's a tonal mess of a film. Like, I will give them credit. If this version of Zordon said, Alpha, assemble a team of 5 teenagers with attitude, I would say, wow, Alpha did a pretty good job here in this case.
More so than the Boy Scouts of Mighty Morphin.
Yes. Which reminds me, can we talk about how shitty the putty designs are in that movie? Hey, you know those iconic putty monsters that are like really fun henchmen and mooks and stuff like that, and like they have those distinctive sounds where they sound like clay, like hard clay smacking against things and stuff, because they are made of hard clay.
And they sound like chickens for some reason.
Just make them rock monsters.
Jacob's Ladder. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Jacob's Ladder to get back to it, because I'm just like, I haven't seen.
So, this movie bombed at the box office, obviously, but as you could probably tell by the people who were interested in it, it got good reviews. And its legacy is firmly cemented in certain things. Tom Hanks was actually going to be the title character before he turned
Wait, what?
He wanted to act in that.
When did this come out? When did this come out? I need to know.
1990?
Fuck.
What?
I was really hoping he turned this down for Forrest Gump.
Oh, no. He turned... The story gets funnier.
What did
he turned it down for the film...
What was 1990?
He turned it down for the film adaptation of The Bonfire of the Vanities.
Oh! He turned down one box office bomb for another box office bomb.
The only difference is, though, Bonfire didn't even do that well critically at all. People hated that movie.
Yeah, the only thing that people ever praise about that movie is, oh, the cinematography is really good.
I don't know, I haven't seen it.
But yes, this movie is very frequently put on people's scariest movies of all time list, including Bravo's famous 100 scariest movie moments list for, you know, that scene, right, Dalton?
I don't know which specific scene. Oh, is it the party scene?
Yes.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I think you showed me a clip of the party scene once. I was like, well, that's freaky.
Yeah, it's so good.
And this movie's influence can be felt everywhere, from horror films to TV shows to especially video games, which brings us to its number one biggest influence, which is on...
This is my time to shine. I'm not going to rant about Bloober Team, I promise.
5.
I'm cautiously optimistic about the Silent Hill 2 remake. I think it's got a lot of hurdles to clear. I don't think it's going to live up to the original. Okay, we're past that. This was a big influence on Silent Hill.
Hey!
There you go. Very specifically, there's one sequence in this film that is the direct inspiration for one of the exact levels in Silent Hill. Specifically, Silent Hill 3. The inspiration for there being a subway tunnel sequence in Silent Hill 3 is from the subway tunnel sequence in this film. Some of which there's direct shots lifted from the movie, put into the game.
We're talking shot for shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, the basically seamless slipping between reality, the literal effects of like shit coming off the wall and decaying, and that's straight up into Silent Hill. The soundscape is a big inspiration for Silent Hill as well. The most iconic recurring enemies, the nurses, lifted directly from this film. The whole religious allegories and religious symbolism. Once
Silent
again, you
Hill.
literally kill something that's like, and spoilers for Silent Hill 1, a game that's over 20 years old at this point.
Almost older than that, but
Yeah.
almost 30.
No, it came out in 99.
Oh, okay, 25.
Yeah. I know my Silent Hill. Anyway.
Can you tell he's a fan, everybody?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to talk religious allegories and symbolism, religious stuff is spread throughout the series. Specifically, Silent Hill 1 and 3 deal with a lot of biblical imagery, specifically motherhood a lot for those games. The final boss of Silent Hill 1 is literally a fictional religious creation created up by fucking terrible piece of shit Templars. Or was it Baphomet? Who created Baphomet? Was it the Templars that made up Baphomet?
I thought it was just some esoteric group back like in the 60s or something.
No, Baphomet predates that.
Oh.
Not sure.
It was either the Templars or the Inquisition that created it as like a fake thing to pin on people. Either way, like the final boss of Silent Hill 1 is quite literally meant to look like Baphomet and is labeled God. Yeah, back to Richie. I sorry, I love to geek out about Silent Hill if you can't tell.
Inquisition of the Knights Templar.
We will.
Both.
Well,
Both of them.
Dalton, don't worry. I'll give you plenty of chances in the post screening.
Yeah.
Joint effort.
But this also predates the Inquisition as we know it today. As we are.
Right, because the Inquisition most people think of was what, 1600s? 1700s?
No, it was like the 1400s.
Really?
The first one started in, I want to say, like the 1480s.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I always get the dates on weird.
Well, there's multiple Inquisitions. There's the Spanish, the French, the Italian, the Portuguese.
Yeah, I think I was thinking it was
Spanish.
Spanish.
Right?
Was the Spanish the 1600s?
Spanish went on for like 300 years.
Yeah, so it could have been the 1600s.
So, Silent Hill was far from the only thing to use this as an inspiration, however. Resident Evil and Evil Within game director Shinji Mikami has cited this movie as a personal inspiration. Not to mention, Christopher Nolan has cited the film's use of abstract imagery as an inspiration for the montage sequences of Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I
haven't seen that movie, but I love the soundtrack.
Also,
that score is phenomenal.
And on the TV level of things,
I love its references in Dracula flow.
Moving like Oppenheimer.
And on the TV level of things, X-Files director Kim Manners prepared for directing the episode Grotesque, which was centered on a supposedly possessed serial killer, by listening to the film's score, which, this score. We gotta talk about that real quick. The composer for this is Maurice Jarre? Maurice Jarre?
Yeah, I see it, yeah.
Known for the scores for Lawrence of Arabia, Fatal...
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
That's an iconic film score right there.
Oh, that's not it. Fatal Attraction comes back here again because he did the score for that, for Gorillas in the Mist, for Dead Poets Society.
I'll put your notes as and a shit ton more.
And a bunch of other stuff that I can't even... This guy's film discography is nuts.
I mean, you start with the Lawrence of Arabia and then just kept going.
But yeah, as you could probably guess from all that, the themes of this are very abstract, very mystical in some senses. Mm-hmm. Because screenwriter Bruce Joel Rubin based the whole thing on a nightmare he had about being lost in the New York City subway, which unnavigable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a labyrinth down there.
It really is.
And
it's a death trap. It's a suicide rap.
And he is famous for injecting mysticism into things because the Jewish Bruce Joel Rubin would
He's
often
Jewish? I couldn't tell.
yeah, with a
I was
name
waiting to make that joke. I'm sorry.
with the name like Reuben.
With a name like Joel, with a middle
Bruce
name like
Joel.
Joel Rubin.
Bruce Joel Rubin.
Okay, let's.
A lot of his films, especially in this era, were influenced by a trip he took to Tibet.
Okay.
Do you think it's the guy who said kvetch before? I'm just saying.
We got some buddies here who are laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
But
I have nothing but love and respect for the Jewish community. I use Yiddish way more than any
he called
person.
me a putz twice today.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
How much do I say oy vey?
That's fair.
all the time.
Yeah.
Also, Yiddish is one of those languages that for some reason I can understand a good amount of it, but I just can't speak it. I can't speak it.
Schmuck. I use that all the time.
Yeah,
Too.
I mean, a lot of people know Jewish insults, but I remember one time I was at work and there was literally my boss having a conversation with someone in Yiddish, and I understood like 3/4 of the conversation.
So, for context, obviously I'm bringing this to the table. Daulton, you're well versed in this, obviously.
I've seen it.
And we have our uninitiated here.
Yep.
Thoughts going in before you read the back of the DVD?
I don't know what to expect, to be honest.
Good.
There you go.
Okay, thanks for throwing out my
I'm
tips.
counting on the surprise for this one. Anyway.
I mean, it could have been worse. It could have slapped him with.
Thank you for not doing that on camera.
Anyway, if you would bring this into this.
That guy looks like Derek Jacobi. Sorry.
He does.
The most frightening thing about Jacob Singer's nightmare is that he isn't dreaming.
And that he didn't
Lionsgate
get any...
proof of purchase 28004.
Hold on. And that he didn't get any inheritance money from being part of the Singer family empire.
You and these references. Okay.
Sewing machine.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know. I was like,
I got it.
I was like, they do still
I
make a good
got
amount of
it.
money, but they're also garbage sewing machines at this point. Anyway, in this harrowing psychological thriller, Jacob Singer, played by Tim Robbins, is a Vietnam vet haunted by the memories of war and the death of his young son. This is off to a great start. As Jacob starts to experience visions of demons all around him, he begins to question what is real. Is he going insane? Is he suffering from post-traumatic stress? Or could he be caught in the middle of some horrific supernatural battle he can't understand? Directed by Adrian Lin, Fatal Attraction, Jacob's Ladder takes you on a terrifying ride to one man's descent into hell. Special features, making of featurette, audio commentary by director Adrian Lin, deleted scenes, theatrical trailer, widescreen production.
You know what the best part of this whole thing is?
The guy in the back who looks like Derek Jacobi?
Guess who the kid is? Guess who plays his dead kid?
Is that Macaulay Culkin?
Yes.
Oh my fucking god. It's that I could tell by the haircut.
It is. And you know what the thing is? He's uncredited in this movie. Presumably because his dad was famously picky about what movies he could be in.
Oh.
Because he was his talent manager at the time.
Yeah, a lot of parents end up being their kids' talent managers.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go into that.
Anyway, let's crack in and take a dive down Jacob's Ladder.
Let's not go down the parent talent manager route. 'Tis a dark path.
'Tis a dark path.
Screening time.
Okay.
And we're back on Killer Score after screening Jacob's Ladder, written by Bruce Joel Rubin and directed by Adrian Lin. What a trip to come back to.
Yeah, definitely a trip.
I just realized something.
What?
I know it's not literal, but it's still surprising that in a film called Jacob's Ladder, there's not even a ladder in the background in any scenes.
It's metaphorical.
I know it's metaphorical, but still, it's shocking that, like, not a single ladder appears.
It gets a named reference later, but that's for, yeah.
Spoiler territory.
That's spoiler territory. There's a big one coming up for that, folks.
Yep.
Trust me, we're going to have a field day in the spoiler section, but it was refreshing coming back to this for me. Loved it the first one or two times I saw it before. Still do. There Obviously, the symbolism reads to me as kind of, high school script class to me, but
Yeah, a little bit.
but where this movie lacks in 100% thematic symmetry, it more than makes up for in sheer unadulterated haunting atmosphere.
It was bothering me. It looked like a bug.
But yeah, the acting, the score, the cinematography all work wonders, in my opinion, at giving the impression of an unrelenting nightmare.
Fourth host is right.
And the fourth host has arrived. And seeing as how Daulton might be distracted as with the rest of us, you know what? He's actually the most free. Daulton, what did you think coming back to this?
Not anymore, is it?
Never mind. Uninitiated Erin, your thoughts on your first time watching Jacob's Ladder, please.
So, I'm not sure what I was expecting. On the one hand, I was like, please do not be a movie that's just trigger warning after trigger warning. But I was pleasantly surprised. Thankfully. But I thought it got into some mindfuckery at certain points, but that's kind of the point.
Absolutely.
Like, not knowing what's real versus what isn't. Like, is he dead? Is he alive? Is it a dream, a nightmare, a hallucination, whatever? And I found that very interesting. I like the way that the movie was put together. Of course, we have some nitpicks, some gripes, but, we'll get into that.
Yes. Daulton?
Now that you have a free hand?
Yeah. Yeah. I still like it. I don't know if I'm as crazy about it as other people are. I think it's a fine film. There's a lot I enjoy about it. There's a lot I like about it. I don't know. I could just use more. I know people would argue, effectiveness. You don't want to be too overabundant. I could just use a little more spooky imagery.
Yeah.
Because
I can see that.
There's a lot of stretches in this movie where I'm just kind of bored.
Yeah, they. On one hand,
I really don't like the chiropractor character. Granted, I have a bias and a hatred towards chiropractors. But even back when I first saw this movie, I just remember thinking, oh, this guy feels so out of place in this movie.
He really does.
He feels so cheesy. He feels like a exile from another genre film,
like a David Chase character.
A lesser director, and like, it's gonna sound weird at first, but you guys know what I mean. A lesser director would have made him a black man. Because they would have done the magical black guy. Yeah.
They would have done
the folksy aphorisms and stuff like that.
They would have pulled the...
Or they would have just made him a stock comic relief.
Gonna get my head cut off for this, but they would have pulled a Stephen King on it.
Stephen King loves his magical black folks.
Yeah.
The Shining.
The Shining.
The Stand.
Mother Abigail, yeah.
But getting back to this movie a bit, I really gotta give props to the performances here. Tim Robbins in particular really does give you the impression. Yeah, he delivers.
He's great. I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, the imagery, it's so inspirational. It sounds weird, but it inspired a lot. I would not be surprised if I'd have to look up it later, but I really would not be surprised if some of the cinematographers or VFX people or just people in Trent Reznor's circle saw this movie.
Yeah.
Because so much of this imagery you can see in the music video for the Downward Spiral era of 9 Inch Nails.
Closer.
Yeah, particularly the one that really strikes me is the image with just the torso with the bag on its head just writhing around. That's something straight out of a 9 Inch Nails music video. Yeah. I just like, I don't know, something about this movie always feels weird to me. It just feels like it can't commit
to one thing.
I
get that.
Does have a lot of plot lines that feel like they're in different movies.
And I get it. You're supposed to.
Some questions unanswered.
I get it. You're supposed to be drifting through reality. What's real? What's fiction? But like, that's the entire movie. And just as soon as you start to get like invested in one plot line or one character, they shift over to another plot line and character element, and then it's just
Bowie.
it's just like, oh, that was a.
Oh, Bowie.
No, Bowie.
It's just like, oh, there was a. Hey, come here, bud.
Bowie.
Bobo.
Bobo, come here,
Bobo.
Bobo.
Bowie, why do you like this tripod so much?
It's standing in his way.
Oh my god.
No. No.
Bowie, that camera's very expensive.
Bowie, do not rub your face on that. Bowie, do not rub your face on that. Bowie, come on. Bowie, get. Bowie, come on. You can't be playing with that.
Okay, come on up.
Yeah.
Come cuddle.
He's gonna swat at me.
So, do not go right back to it.
Oh my god.
Here, you take it.
All right.
Alright.
Erin, continue the discussion.
Oh.
Sometimes you gotta be harsher than unfortunately.
Yeah, like when he jumps on the TV.
You gotta do the gritted teeth voice.
Yeah, that's what works on him.
Yeah, unfortunately, we gotta.
Oh my god.
Boy, what is up with you and this tripod, buddy?
Come here. Here, come up here and cuddle.
All right.
Okay, so
carry on the discussion.
Okay, so one of my gripes with this movie is that here's the thing. I agree with Daulton that I get that it's trying to do, like, blurring the lines between, like, reality and psychosis and whatever is going on. And, like, is it real? Is it drugs? Is it, like... PTSD, is it whatever? But it doesn't really seem to stick with one thing.
Until the very end.
Until the very end, where it's like, hey, we know what it is, but this last 2 hours made no sense because of it.
Yeah, and because it doesn't stick with a particular thing, I find it harder to get invested in this movie.
Yeah, also...
you get invested, and then you realize the movie's trick, and you're like, none of this is going to matter. It's just going to shift to another thing in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd argue that's the misdirection element of it.
Yeah, but after it does it like 2 or 3 times...
After it does it like 16 times...
You're just like, oh, well, none of this is going to matter in the end.
Yeah, none of it... Because, like, here's the thing. I like the imagery. I like the cinematography. I love the use of Dutch angles in the beginning of the film.
Oh, those... Especially in the subway.
Because I feel like Dutch angles, when used well, can be very effective, especially when it's used in a horror sense. My own complaint is... As much as I hate to say it, it's the writing and the pacing.
The pacing especially.
And
the pacing is especially.
And if I'm going to be real with you guys, this is going to sound bad, especially given the name of our podcast. I'm not big on the score on this movie.
It was alright.
Yeah, I'm not really that big on it either. It doesn't seem to be there that much.
It's not punchy when it should be.
It's not punchy when it should be. The only song I remember from this movie, besides like the James Brown playing during a party, is like that one piano bit that, as Daulton said, sounds like drunk Laura Palmer's theme.
Yeah, and sadly, it's not on the level
of Laura Palmer's theme.
Yeah. It's not on the level of why am I feeling bad for forgetting the name of the composer of Twin Peaks there.
Some of the stuff in the...
Morricone? No?
No, it's not Morricone. That's the guy that did all the spaghetti
westerns.
westerns.
The guy who did spaghetti westerns.
Morricone.
No, it's the guy, he had an Italian name.
Nino Rota?
No. Ends in an I.
I'm just gonna look it up.
Yeah, type in the Twin Peaks composer.
I kind of like the hospital music.
I didn't. I just didn't like the hospital scenes, to be honest. It just seemed really exploitative to me.
How did I forget about this? Angelo Badalamenti.
Badalamenti.
Angelo Badalamenti, yeah. The famous composer of the Twin Peaks theme. Which, like, None of the music in here is on the level of Twin
Yeah.
Peaks.
Because honestly, like, the music that I remember most from this is that one piano bit, and, like, the diegetic... Because it sounds like Drunk Laura Palmer. And, like, the diegetic music, like, the music that's just playing in the party or, like, on a radio in the background or something. Like, I remember James Brown and LaBelle better than I remember most of this score.
I thought the James Brown song was used effectively in that scene.
It
is, but it's not written for the film. It's Bowie.
Bowie.
He is not being very good today.
Bad.
Yeah.
Go to the tripod.
Yeah.
He's not being very good today.
Yeah, he's
feeling a little demon today.
Wow, Drac is the chill one today. What does that say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway.
So, let's talk about the cinematography a bit. Because...
Yeah, the cinematography was good. I do like it. There are, as Daulton mentioned, there are some bits in the film that feel like it's just cut out of a music video.
Yeah.
Which both works and doesn't work depending on the scene.
And something that, as Daulton alluded to, I'm sure music videos borrowed from this. And because it feels like it, as Daulton said, like, it feels like, do not. Excuse me, I think I just burped in the microphone. Yeah, I got that.
Sorry.
No, that was my fault. But one particular technique one technique in particular that music videos love to use ever since Jacob's Ladder came out is a little move called undercranking.
Yeah.
And that is when you film something at a lower frame rate to give the illusion of faster time passage.
Yeah, like, if I wanted to, I could change the frame rate on this camera right now, as an example, but I don't feel like pausing and redoing all that.
The head-shaking ghosts are the most obvious use of this. They use that same technique on the Benny Hill show when he runs.
God. Yeah, you're right, he does.
I think I have another hot take about this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's at its best and its scariest early on when it's more subtle.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
When it doesn't shove as much of the stuff in your face.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the last third of the movie, it seems to fall apart a bit.
Nothing in the film tops the subway sequence.
I feel like the subway sequence, I know the party sequence is like the one everyone knows.
And everyone's like, oh, that's so scary. But
and I'm just like, I just feel like I'm watching some weird dungeon porn.
I'm just like, she's fucking a bird person. That's pretty kinky.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm just like, I just feel like I'm watching a weird porno.
From that?
It's clearly a bird.
It's got beaks and...
I thought it was a lizard with the tail.
Maybe it's like some pterodactyl.
Or maybe...
I don't freaking know.
Maybe it's like Sauron from Marvel.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Sauron from Marvel.
I was gonna say something completely different, which we'll talk about in spoilers later, but...
No, it's like Sauron. You know Sauron, right?
Yes, I do.
The pterodactyl man?
I remember.
I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs. That guy. I love that guy.
I was going with Quetzalcoatl, but we'll talk
That's one of my favorite lines in all of comic books, but I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
That's real.
That's hilarious.
That is real. You can count on us to be...
I love nakedly unashamed villains. That's one of my favorite things. I love
Thanos?
Villains. Yeah, I love villains.
No.
No, not even Comic Thanos. Comic Thanos is just a simp.
Oh, right, duh.
He is, though.
He gets beaten by Squirrel Girl.
That's Dr. Doom.
I thought that was Thanos.
Nope.
No, Galactus gets beaten by Squirrel Girl.
Oh,
and
you're
Dr.
right.
Doom.
Which is arguably worse.
Bowie?
Yes.
Bowie.
I'm getting... Dude.
He does not want to listen.
Rub your head on the table. You're doing it right now. Don't rub your face on the freaking camera.
Why does... Do you think it's like a forbidden fruit for him?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, no.
He's
looping right behind you, bud.
He's a little rascal. You gotta watch him. Not very little, but he is a rascal. Come back up. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Do not go to the camera. I know you're going to the camera. Don't go to the camera.
He's fucking.
He's like, yeah, you called me.
He's playing I'm Not Touching You with the tripod.
Yeah.
He is.
Anyway, but yeah, I thought the undercranking sequence pretty cool. I will say, admittedly, they overuse it with those ghosts.
They do.
Like,
It's
They do.
every single one you say.
It's like I wouldn't say it's every single one. It's
not
like
everyone.
It's 95% of them.
80.
7 out of 10.
They're all so much of them are just like.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm sorry, this is a point that I feel like I have to make, that it has to be that a lot of films even today still do, which is just making hospitals look incredibly exploitative. Especially
A bit.
when it comes to psychiatric care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know it harkens back to Bowie.
If they took out like the psychiatric imagery, I would find it less egregious.
Yeah, because it feels
Because if
exploitative at best.
if it's meant to represent how much of a meat grinder the U.S. Army hospitals were in like that time period, then lean more into that imagery and don't do the stock trope of the scary mentally ill people.
And
Yeah,
honestly,
it's disgusting.
In hindsight, the use of the psychiatric thing feels like a red herring. It kind of feels like Bruce Joel Rubin was like, wait, if we make it a military hospital, then that gives the twist away. Let's do the psychiatric.
As if they weren't nailing the goddamn twist over your head from the goddamn beginning.
Get-go, yeah.
And now we're getting into spoilers at 46 minutes.
Yeah.
Because, in case it weren't obvious from my tiptoeing around the subject of the afterlife,
He's dead the whole
he's
time.
dead.
Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, 1890.
Yeah, literally the entire movie is revealed in the last 5 minutes to be, he was dead the whole time. Which is
And-
something I got into an hour into this movie. I was
Yeah,
like, oh my god, he's fucking dead.
Well, literally, like, in the first 20 minutes at the party, the girl's like, this says you're dead.
Yeah, like, I figured that was some kind of foreshadowing, but they made it so explicitly clear later.
There are other ones,
All the
too.
angel imagery.
Yeah, it's like I got frustrated with this movie. I'm gonna be honest. I got frustrated.
Towards the end.
The last third of this movie, I'm just like, I guessed everything that was going on. I guessed MK Ultra.
The movie's
I guessed he was dead. I guessed that the son got hit by a fucking bus.
Yeah, the movie's a little too long.
Technically, it was a car.
It could have been a bus tire.
Yeah, the movie's a little too long. It's a little bit.
It goes on for too long.
It could be trimmed a bit.
I'll say this: the chiropractic scenes could have been cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been cut because it just
He doesn't
Makes no
really
sense.
add much.
he doesn't do anything besides hurt his back more.
And also, just spell out the movie to you.
Yeah, it's like,
He's the exposition fairy.
Yeah.
honestly,
You know, they say it looks like demons if you're fighting it, but if you're not, they're angels.
Yeah, and they literally like repeat that dialogue at the end of the movie.
I'll say this though.
It's pandering.
If
I
there's,
hate movies that treat me like a dumbass.
Yeah.
there are way guiltier movies of that though.
Oh, we know.
But I still like.
It could be Daulton.
Here we go.
Let me
by
say
the way.
something.
This is gonna be me dropping the usual film I use as an example of like, you don't have to shove it in my goddamn face for me to like get it.
Am I
Donnie
right
Darko.
to say Donnie Darko?
Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Because that weaves it into the narrative.
Yes, like
Yeah.
it, like, and let's face it, the twist is actually good in Donnie Darko.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like, oh, spoilers for Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, it's in
Temptation
a
of Christ.
spoiler.
yeah.
It's in the spoiler section.
Yeah,
They know
yeah,
what they're
yeah.
getting into.
It is essentially a Christ figure story. Like, Donnie is a messiah figure. He has to sacrifice himself for the world not to be destroyed.
You know what
Yeah.
one of my favorite lines in that movie is?
What?
When Gretchen goes, Donnie Darko. It sounds like a lame superhero name.
Yeah.
And then Donnie goes, who says I'm not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a point to him having the strength
He has
and,
foresight.
and
you
the
know?
powers.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you know, the time loop is just done narratively with exposition, which is why this is where the debate starts over theatrical and directors. I get you directors cut people. I totally do. I do like the additional scenes that are added. I think they're good. However, I think having Jake Gyllenhaal narrate sections from Grandma Death's book,
From the Philosophy of Time Travel?
yes, I feel like that actually hurts the narrative by just spelling out how the time travel works, because that's not important.
Yeah, honestly, the way that's described kind of makes me think about the original film versus the final cut of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Except the final cut of Blade Runner's way better.
Yeah. I'm just saying that it's like when you add unnecessary narration to a film that doesn't need it,
Like,
that's the first movie that comes to my mind is the original cut of Blade Runner.
Sushi, cold fish. That's what my ex-wife called me.
Yeah, like that.
oh God.
No.
I'm sorry, we're having a lot of problems with this one cat today.
Yeah, Bowie's just obsessed with that tripod today.
For some reason.
Yeah, and plus it's a pretty flimsy tripod, so we gotta be careful.
Criminy.
Dude, don't go to it. I know you're going.
You want to just throw a toy?
He really is. Oh wait, I got
He's
something.
Smarter than that.
That's
Wait,
true.
That's not something you can throw, Reggie.
I'm not throwing it. I'm
Well, throw it.
dangling it.
Oh no, he does want it though.
Oh, okay.
So actually,
Temporary
he probably
He
solution.
likes his
wants to
fishy.
play.
He probably just wants to play.
Here. You want the fishy? Get the fishy.
He likes his fishy.
Take the fishy.
Okay, I'll take the mic while Richie plays with Bowie.
Okay.
Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder.
So, I have my gripes with this film, as I've already made clear.
I even said off camera that I hate how every movie and every book uses the Divine Comedy, which is not a canonical biblical text.
Yeah.
It isn't. That's like saying Paradise Lost is a biblical text.
Yes, which also a lot of you Christians are guilty of that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make this
Satan and the devil are not one in the same.
Anyway,
Neither is Lucifer.
no.
None of that.
Those
is
are all
in the
different. Those are
Bible.
all different things.
All different.
And they're also non-canonical. But anyway, no. One thing I want to say is, for those who are unaware of what fan fiction is, the Divine Comedy is a self-insert fanfic. Come at me, lit nerds.
About the Bible.
It is.
And
It
about
is. It's a
hell.
self-insert fanfic because it's literally some guy being like, and I had this really cool wife, and her name was Beatrix, and then she died, and then I met Virgil, and then we went to hell, but then things got better because we went to purgatory, and then we went to heaven, and Virgil showed me the whole way, and I met God, and I'm just like, oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Okay. In the interest of giving some props to this movie, until the last third, I felt like it did a decent job at misdirecting. Like for a while you think it could be drugs.
I mean, I thought by the halfway point of this movie, do not do it, Bowie. By the halfway point in this movie, I'm just thinking like, well, it was the 70s. It's like it was the 60s and the 70s, and drugs culture was becoming like a big thing. Blah blah blah. Also, MK Ultra. Also this. Also biblical imagery, and I'm just like,
It does.
I figured out this movie halfway through.
It does kind of over-egg the pudding, as
Also,
it
a
were.
weird gripe I just realized I thought about. When is this supposed to take place?
90s
But that doesn't make any
80s.
sense.
It would be
or 80s. 80s.
But even then, that doesn't make sense because none of the cars are 80s models.
Yeah, they're all 70s models. So I would assume it would take place around like 75, 76.
But that also doesn't make
Makes
sense
sense.
because Vietnam was still going on.
Vietnam, didn't that end in 74?
I thought it ended in 76.
All right. Yeah, for some reason I thought we pulled out in 73 or 74.
You know what's funny too? I thought to myself,
we have to do some Google
Yeah.
searching of when did Vietnam end.
Or 75.
75.
Okay, so it must have been like 78, 79. Let's go with
Yeah.
that.
You know what's funny to me, Dalton?
Enough time for him to get divorced.
This movie is a second in a streak of movies with terrible remakes that we've covered.
There's oh.
I thought it was a sequel.
No, it was a remake.
Really?
They made one in 2019, I want to say.
Oh.
It blows.
Was it directed?
I would imagine Bowie.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Man.
I was getting incredibly frustrated with the cat.
Yeah. Not to mention,
Come on, man.
I think it was 2018. I think it was direct to TV, Daulton.
Yeah,
That checks out.
Right.
Special effects suck. They tried to modernize it by making it Iraq, which, you know, hack move.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Also, it loses the context.
it loses the context. I feel like without Vietnam, you don't get the idea that, you don't get the biggest sense that, thank you, Bowie. Thank you.
Thank you, Bowie.
Good point.
Like, without it being in Vietnam, you lose the whole thing of the soldiers being pawns in the government's game.
To a degree.
To a degree.
But, yeah, honestly, this feels very, like... It feels like they just jumbled ideas together.
A little bit.
A lot.
You know what the funny thing is?
Because they took the ideas of biblical imagery, including, they even acknowledge in the beginning of the movie, everyone's named after someone in the Bible. Even, like, the neighbors whose names are, like, what, Eli and something? Or whatever.
Yeah.
But...
Gabriel is the name of his son.
The main character's name is Jacob.
Girlfriend's name is Jezebel.
His ex-wife's name is Sarah.
Oh, God. I missed that, too.
Yeah. Literally, the only person I think who isn't a biblical name is Louis.
You know what the thing is, too?
And that's French.
As alluded to in the beginning, there's even some fucking reincarnation and Tibetan Buddhism thrown in.
There's not a book according to Lou? There's not the Book of Lewis?
Yes, you can find it at a secondhand bookstore and Reading Terminal Market.
Please specific.
Oh,
I'm just making a joke because I found some weird shit in that bookstore.
anyway, fucking...
I found the Marquis de Sade in that bookstore once.
Since we're in spoilers, I can tell you now that, Bruce Joel Rubin was partially inspired by the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that only kind of proves that it's very much a throw a bunch of philosophy stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, this movie does... Yeah, okay, so I think we mentioned this before, that in the History of the World Part 1 video, and it's a weird comparison to make, but...
Hold on, I have to do a joke before I
Yeah?
Most unfilmable script in Hollywood. No wonder. Nobody went past the first draft.
Yeah.
Come on. That was funny. But
It does feel like a film that didn't have more than a first draft, though.
Yeah, but Mel Brooks' style of comedy is throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
So basically this is like...
This movie's style of horror is throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
So it's like if History of the World Part 1 were a horror movie instead of a comedy.
We're a horror movie instead of the comedy where they just throw philosophical concepts at you along with historical context and government conspiracies.
In hindsight, as much as I still enjoy this movie, and I really do appreciate its atmosphere, it does really give the sense that everything inspired by it
was better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it walked so Silent Hill and...
Resident Evil could run.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say it. I kind of prefer it in The Evil Within to Jacob's Ladder.
I'm not going to go that.
Evil Within was not bad.
The game?
Yes.
Evil Within 2 is way better.
Oh, Billy, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah.
Evil Within 1 is a horribly balanced game.
Horrible. I feel like 2 has none of the tonal problems that the first one has. Because 1's all over the place.
Yeah, and 1's difficulty level is all over the place, too. Like, there's way too many instant death conditions in that game.
2 is better.
Much better.
Way better.
Honestly, if I had to give this movie on a rating of A to F, I give it, like, probably a C, like just a flat C.
That's fair.
I was gonna
'Cause
be
it
real
had-
sad
it
if
had-
you said D.
No, I'm giving it a flat C.
I give it a
my
B
first,
minus.
my first initial was gonna be a C minus, but
Aaron's like, see me after class.
yeah, see me after class.
I give it a B minus.
See me after class. Sorry. Oh wait, C it's that way. Yeah, there we go. Me after class. But anyway, it had potential, but there was too many hands in the pot and too much going on to be cohesive.
Too many.
Hilariously enough, the reason that all the studios gave for Bruce Joel Rubin, the fact that they couldn't make the movie is, and I quote, "Ghost movies don't sell."
It's not even a ghost movie.
No, that's not even true.
And yes, that does become hilarious. Do you want to know what?
This was the same year that Ghost came out, wasn't it?
Yes.
Not the same year.
Oh, I thought it was.
But guess what? Bruce Joel Rubin wrote immediately after this. Ghost, which
shows that ghost movies can sell. Also, speaking of ghost movies that sell, look at the Conjuring series, because I mean,
well, like, even if you want a date before this, what about all those old haunted house ghost movies that like
The Haunting,
yeah,
The House
on Haunted
Hill.
like
Hell, Ghostbusters.
Ghost movies sold. They
ghost movies
demonstrably
sell.
sold.
Ghost movies sell.
Yeah.
Executives are idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the moral of the story. Executives are idiots, and also the moral of the story is maybe cook your ideas a bit.
Cook your ideas and run it by a control group before you pitch it to the studio.
Yeah, maybe. Also, maybe just be like, hey, should I tone down the religious symbolism a little bit?
A little bit, and make it actually look like I know what I'm talking about.
Because it's not like thought-provoking or smart or even cute. It's just obnoxious.
It's just annoying. And the thing is, even with, for example, like, these two are aware of this. I'm working on a tabletop campaign that kind of blends certain different ideas. However, one of them is, like, the main idea is, like, Vampire the Masquerade and whatever, but I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there are some theological elements, in the thing. You know what I did? I asked my friend who's a fucking theology major for help.
You know what?
And you know what else I was just thinking? Like, and just to tie it back into Silent Hill, it's not like in Silent Hill when you, like, look at the street names and you're like, oh, they're all horror authors. That's neat.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't feel obnoxious.
No, it feels cute.
It feels realistic. Like, do I believe that there's a small town in America that has a Barker Street? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Barker Street would be a real place. Like, even like
Kuntz Way. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that.
Trust me, I've seen some weird there's shades of Death Road in fucking New Jersey.
I mean, King too. That's
King Street.
That's feasible.
King Street,
That's a real place.
That sounds perfectly normal. All of these places sound like I'm just like, yup.
And then by the time I realized
Dostoevsky Lane or something does not sound real. But
Algernon Avenue. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds completely real.
By the time they got to, by the time I realized Jezzy was short for Jezebel, I'm like,
Yeah, I was like,
and she's the one who's misleading a man.
Oh yeah,
straying him off the path.
She's implied to be a.
No, I know what she's implied to be.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking obvious.
She's not real.
The demons.
Yeah. She's supposed to be like a succubus. We get it.
Oh God, Erin, you look like you wanted to blow something up with your mind.
No, I'm just staring directly into the camera. Bowie, please stop.
Okay.
He's like, okay.
All right. For now.
But yeah, like, there's so much stuff in here that could have been so much better. Honestly, as I said, I give this movie a C because on the one hand,
foundational.
I was pleasantly surprised by some.
No, Bowie.
I was
Bowie.
I was pleasantly surprised by some things and severely disappointed by others.
That's all fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, like there's certain things where I was like, oh, okay, that worked, and other ones I'm just like, are you serious?
Yeah.
But yeah, like See me after class.
Yeah, like we're not even the only people who brought up how like obnoxious the mental hospital imagery in this movie is. That's another thing I've seen.
Ryan Hollinger did a good video on this as well.
Yeah.
Where he commented on how, like, had it not been for the atmosphere, the whole twist would have been dime a dozen dying dream things.
Yeah.
Also,
Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, 1890.
yeah, also, I'm just gonna make this point right here about the depiction of mental hospitals and psychiatric care in film, is that it actually deters people from getting help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad and depressing.
Yes.
You know what's
monstrous even.
Yes.
You know what's even more depressing, Dalton? One of the better examples of those portrayals is Tales from the Crypt, because it actually has sympathetic characters and good people in those hospitals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the horror is not from the patients, but the people neglecting them and and are part of the medical system.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, if you want a horror story with an actually good twist, won't take you long. I'm encouraging reading on this channel. I like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like books.
I like to encourage reading. Shocker, I'm going to encourage you to read an H.P. Lovecraft story. Dalton, isn't that guy monstrous racist? Yes, he's dead also. And also, like...
we're good.
And also, like, the racism in his stories doesn't really come up that much outside of a few stories.
Where it's like Arg the Welsh.
It's like, and even then with the Welsh thing, it's like, you gotta read between the lines for that.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say where it's like, so there's only like two I could think of that are super racist, which is like the Snake Pit one, I forget the name of that one, and Reanimator. Do not read the original Reanimator.
That is
love of God.
so bad.
For the love of God. Point is, he was a very complicated man. Married a Jewish woman.
Didn't he become a socialist later in life?
Yeah,
he did.
Became a socialist later in life and was like, my God, I've wasted my entire life on fears and yada yada yada. Point is, go read The Outsider.
There are writers who are objectively horrible as people.
Yes.
I look at H.P. Lovecraft, and then I look at as pitiable. You look at this. You look at him like, you pathetic, stupid man. Like, but also you
He started to turn his life around and then he died.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the guy: he never actually started anything big. Because everyone's like, well, that guy was really racist. Yeah, but he didn't like.
Frank L. Baum, on the other hand.
Yeah, he wasn't a huge author who like started like hate campaigns or like.
We know who you know who we're talking about.
He was bigoted. He was just bigoted, but not, like it was just he was a bigoted guy who couldn't stop writing letters.
And then you got people like Frank L. Baum, who wrote The Wizard of Oz. Oh my God. Oh.
He's gonna knock over the TV one of these days.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kill him. I love you, Bowie, but do not break my shit.
Then you got Frank L. Baum, who wrote The Wizard of Oz, who, no joke, hated Native Americans so much that he wished the Wounded Knee Massacre were worse.
Oh boy.
Not even kidding.
I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
He was fucking crazy. He was a crazy piece of shit.
Or let's not forget how they like out of nowhere Bowie! Dude! Hey. Oh my God.
This cat today.
Yeah, let's not forget how fucking the C.S. Lewis literally killed off Sarah off screen in one book. It was just like, oh, well, why isn't she here? Aslan, she stopped believing in God.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the way it happened.
And by the way, none of this was hinted at or in character whatsoever for Sarah. He just decided to be really misogynistic.
Yeah, it's like once you stop believing, he killed her.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why Fables fell off, because he made Bigby the big, strong alpha male man when he was established to be a stay-at-home dad.
Well, also, a woman literally gets raped and is just like, well, I'm gonna have the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yikes.
Bill Willingham is a strange, sad man.
Yeah, he's very conservative and he shoves it into his shit. And,
Where it doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, why would Snow White do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not fit her character.
It doesn't at all. Or Bigby.
No.
Honestly. Like, Bigby wouldn't do that.
Well, now that we've gone completely off the rails.
Anyway, out of spoilers.
Mixed bag.
C minus.
I'd say
like
B
it,
minus.
I like it less on a reviewing, on like a new viewing.
I'd still say check it out, but just know that you're getting a...
You might like it more than
You're
Erin
getting a
and
mixed bag, and it can be problematic. There you go.
Yep. And if you're a Silent Hill fan and you want to see where the roots came in, I'd say give it a watch.
And also, this is just a weird take. I know some people are going to be like, that's your take? Why was it Vietnam, the war where there wasn't really much experimentation on people done?
Huh.
Right?
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Famously, the war where there was a lot of fucked up experiments that happened on people was World War II.
And one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, just... If you have
That's a
any
whole other
questions-
can of worms.
Look
That's
into
all
what Japan did during World War II.
Oh.
Look into, just go on a Wikipedia binge. Have fun. Good night.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Have fun with your new nightmares. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween!
Halloween.
True, Halloween.
And,
Learn about the horrors of history.
And
There's many
it's
podcasts
It's the most
for it.
horrifying part of our reality.
Is our history.
Nothing will be as horrifying as what this goddamn country did in the Tuskegee experiment.
oh. God, you... Truer
There's,
words perhaps have never been spoken.
Yeah.
Tuskegee,
Jesus Christ.
MK Ultra. There's a lot of CIA operations that I can't list right now.
I'm gonna counter you. MK Ultra's just funny.
MK Ultra is kind of funny. I'm just making lists of things that we've done.
MK Ultra's just funny because
Look it up.
it was just some perverts in the CIA that was like, yeah, what if we fed people LSD and then we watched them fuck each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
Still...
And it's through like some spy mares and shit, and it's like, what is this supposed to prove?
What the shit is this country?
Yeah, everything that our government has done to the Native American population.
If you want something more lighthearted, it's somewhat more lighthearted, still terrible. Look up Operation Acoustic Kitty.
I'm sorry, Richie. I'm sorry. Once you look that up, you will feel horrible and laughing your ass off at the same time. Drac is watching us.
Imagine if the Always Sunny gang were CIA operatives. That's the best way I can describe Operation Acoustic
poor
Kitty.
Dracula looks terrified.
He did not like your laugh.
No, he doesn't like Operation Acoustic Kitty either.
I don't blame him. It involves stitching shit in the cats.
Jesus Christ.
And he is leaving.
It involves surgery on cats.
Now that we have taken a balanced look back at a important yet flawed movie, I
would just like to remind you, the CIA was like, yeah, we're going to train these cats to... And anyone with half a brain should have been like, I'm going to stop you right there. You want to train cats.
To do anything besides shit in a box.
Yeah. You want to train a cat.
The most stubborn animal alive.
Yeah,
as you have seen today.
Yeah, here's
as
the thing
evidenced by this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, here's the thing with cats is yes, you can train a cat to do maybe one or two tricks throughout its lifetime outside of shitting in a box. But it's
and
like
even
clicker.
then, you've got a 50-50 chance the cat will do it.
You got a 50-50 chance the cat will do it. Yes, you can click or train a cat, so it can be like, here, click and it'll do something. Yeah. But
and somehow one of those little bastards got all the way on the top of the kitchen cupboard.
It's the kitten, I remind you people.
Yeah, it's the 7-month-old kitten that jumped on top of the kitchen cabinet and got himself stuck during our viewing.
And was terrified, and I had to get him down.
We had to get a chair to bring him down.
I was the one who spotted it. I'm like, how?
Well, you know, we're getting into spooky season. We're
already in spooky season.
We're in spooky season. we've covered psychological horror, one genre, Dan. What's the next one we're moving on to?
The next one we're moving on
It's
to.
your turn, Erin.
I am looking. Well, I already have the page open because I can never remember the name of the director. So our next pick for Killer Score, Spooky Season 2024. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, we are going to be watching a film that'll make you afraid. It might make you cry. Probably will make you cry.
Most likely
will make you cry.
Unless you have a heart of stone.
Yeah. Some points it might make you laugh. I don't know what your sense of humor is like.
I mean, there's funny scenes.
There are some funny scenes in that. We are covering the 2016 zombie apocalypse film, Train to Busan, directed by I'm gonna butcher this. I'm sorry, my Korean is terrible.
Oh, you get that.
Yun Sang Ho. See you next time.
Dabba die, dabba dee, 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 dabba die.
Okay, Daulton, you're still blue.
Yeah, I'm blue, dabba dee, dabba die.